Om Sadashvasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Yada vidya vilasena bhuta bhautika srishtayaha tam naumi paramatmanam sachidananda vigraham. Okay, so we saw we revised also about Shabda Pramana, all that. Any questions, or we can go ahead with? Yeah.
If not in the meaning later, the example of a crow who destroys the bird. If you can just
Okay. See, he gives an example for Bhagatyaga Lakshana. Now, what does Bhagatyaga Lakshana or Jaha Lakshana involve? Retaining one part, negating the other part. Correct? So he gives the example. The person is told, you're keeping the curds in the sun to set, because winter time in North India doesn't set properly. So you keep it in the sun for some time, warm it up, so it'll set. So he then gives the example. The guy who's watching because curds kept out, those in the room were crows, this, that, etc. You keep it in the sun. So the guy is told, Kakebhyo dadi rakshatam. Protect the curds from the crows. But by implication, you will mean from the dog also, from the cat also, from the neighbor's kid also. He's playing around. 4-year-old kid playing around, he may go and stamp on it. So how do you include all that? Because you said only Kake Biha. So he says, Bhagatyaga Lakshanaya. How does he do that? In the explanation he has given, Kaka has got two qualities, two broad qualities. One is called Kakatvam, Jati of crowness. The other is function. One of the function, not all function, one of the function is Dadighatakatvam. He can go and spoil the curds. Even without touching, he can spoil. Okay? He just has to fly on top of that. Dive bombers are good.
Interpret.
So, that is enough. So, the Dadighatakatvam you retain. Kakatvam you give up. And see, wherever this Dadighatakatvam, ability to spoil the curd, is there. Cat also it is there. Dog also it is there. Neighbor's kid also. Therefore, that by Bhagatyaga Lakshana is applied to everyone. Because look at it. In the cat, crowness is not there. Catness is there. But you are ignoring catness. What are you taking? Dadighatakatva. From the dog, you are ignoring dogness. What are you taking? Dadighatakatva. Are you getting the idea? You are just Dadighatakatvam is common to all of them. Therefore, how do you get that? Bhagatyaga Lakshanaya. So that becomes an example for Bhagatyaga Lakshana. Simple as that, yeah. Though traditionally we use Soam, Devadatta, etc. That we have seen before. Yeah. Any other questions or clarifications? Next chapter is Presumption. Simple. Okay? For the online crowd, any questions, clarifications, or it's all fine? Yeah?
It is similar to the Prathama Kallanyaya. You say something, if I draw parallel, in Prathama Kallanyaya.
No, you can apply it there, but Prathama Mallanyaya is different. What is different about it? That to become the champion boxer, I don't have to fight everyone in the world. I only have to knock off the reigning champion and a few challenges. That's it. So that is meant for a different thing. Why? Because Prathama Mallanyaya is used to indicate that you have taken care of the highest, the lower ones are taken care of. Like you are dismissing, if you find all in the Shastra, Vedic karma is dismissed. By implication, Laukika karma is also dismissed. Why? The highest karma Karmana na moksha, he'll say. And he'll give Vedic examples. So, Prathama Malla. That means worldly activities, yoga activities, Qigong, all that is also dismissed. So, that is meant for something else. Exactly. You take care of the main, others are taken care of. Understood. Okay, yeah. That is Prathama Malla Nyaya. Okay. So, shall we start with Artha? Huh? No. Prathama Mallaha. Mallaha meaning what? Wrestler. So, Prathama, the champion. First one. First among them, the champion. Yeah. Not Prathama Nyaya. It is Prathama Mallaha. Tasya Nyaya. Yeah. Okay. So, now we are going into Arthapattihi. Arthatapattihi, Arthapattihi. Okay. Now he is saying, Idanim Arthapatti Nirupyate. Now we are going to say, enter the Arthapatti. Okay. Tatra Upapadya Ajnanena Upapadaka Kalpanartham Apattihi. Upapadakaha. Upapadaka is something that has to be explained. And because something has to be explained, he says, you are understanding what is necessary to be explained. That understanding is through a process of Arthapatti. So that process is called Arthapatti. Or that way, that pramana is called Arthapatti. For he clarifies that. Upapadya jnanam karanam. Upapadya jnanam. The knowledge of what is necessary, that is the karanam. Upapadaka jnanam phalam. The knowledge that you get is the phalam. Upapadya jnanam. Whatever is there, that is karanam. And the resultant knowledge is phalam. Like he gives us. What is that? Yena vina yad anupapannam tatra upapadyam. Without this, that cannot happen. Without this fact, that fact cannot happen. That is called Arthapatti. That assumption or that presumption is called Arthapatti. He gives an example.
So it has to have a necessary condition.
Yes. Yasya bhave yasya anupatti tatra upapadakam. Yasya abhave. If this is not there, that is also not. If this is there, that is possible. If this is not there, that is not possible. How? He gives an example. Old example, which we have always given. Pino devadattaha divana bhungte. Devadatta hatta gatta. I have been with him whole day, he doesn't eat. I had my breakfast, lunch and dinner, the character didn't touch. Other than water, he is not touching. Okay? How is it possible? Yeah. There is one character going around for the last 11 days, running around, doing lots of activity, etc., going to all the Tirtha sthanas, wherever important Rama temples are there, living only in coconut water. But you see the guy has become his face and all this, so you can make out. Thoda down ho gaya hai, you can make that out. This guy is not like that. Hatta gatta, 2 weeks, hatta gatta, aisa hi hai. Bilkul. Bilkul aisa hi hai. Therefore, he says, therefore, yatha ratri bhojanam vina, without presuming that he is eating in the night, diva bhunjanasya pinutvam anupapannam. Diva abhojanasya. The guy is not eating during the day unless there is known knowledge. Isn't it? He is not eating in the night, you know for sure. That is hatta gatta also you know for sure. He is healthy. That also you know for sure. He has not lost weight. That also you know. How can you explain that fact unless you presume he is eaten somewhere? Without that he is nocturnal in his eating habits. Without presuming that, this cannot be explained. Swamiji, what about hormonal conditions? That becomes upadhi. Yes, you can have hormonal conditions. But you are not going to remain the same weight if for 2 weeks you don't eat. Somebody else, if you don't eat for 2 weeks, may lose 3 kilos. You have hormonal condition, but you still lose 1 pound. Utna to ho jayega. With spite of all the hormonal conditions. Okay? Therefore, that is the thing. He says, Pinatvam anupapannam. Iti tadrisha pinatva upapadyam. Therefore, that pinatvam, that healthiness is upapadika jnanam. Upapadyam. You know, that's right here. You have the knowledge of him. No? By whatever means. Perception. Inference. Whatever you use. You know that thing. It doesn't matter how you gained it. It is directly known to you. Upapadyam. And therefore, yathava ratri then you have presumed he has to be eating in the night. Yathava, or another argument he gives. Ratri bhojanasya abhave. If he is not eating in the night also, tadrisha pinatvasya anupapattihi. It is not possible for him to maintain his same weight. Daytime he is not eating, that is known to you. He is not losing weight, that is also known to you. He is maintaining his weight and health. Therefore, without eating in the night, it is impossible for him to remain like that. If he is not eating in the night, he would be losing weight. Not eating in the day is a given. It's given knowledge for him. Are you getting it? What is given and what is not given? He is healthy, weight-wise. He has maintained his weight. He is not eating during the day. That much is given knowledge. Upapadyam. What is upapadakam? He must be nocturnal. He must be eating in the night. Because if he is not eating in the night also, this would not happen. Yeah. You look at all the tapasvis. Kakdi hai. Why? They too fast too much. Yeah. They fast too much. But you have seen people, Swamiji, isn't there cases where you have seen people fasting and not losing weight? There was this minister in Punjab, Akali Dal minister, who went on a fast and he put on weight. Why? बस मैं तो मंदिर का प्रसाद खाता हूँ, खड़ा प्रसाद from the temple, from the Gurudwara. Morning, afternoon, night, imagine he'll put on weight because he's sitting down hunger fast. Na? Baita, no activity. And 3 times a day, khada prasad. There's always an upadhi. Or another story from Kerala, years ago. Kerala, for anything and everything, you have fasting and strikes and everything, you know, communist based. So this character decided to sit opposite the temple. He was unhappy with something in the temple, under the tree, fasting. Day and night he is sitting down there. Night he will lie down and sleep there only. You know. Kerala you can lie down anywhere and it's hot, hotter, hottest. Only 3 seasons are there. Kerala, Tamil Nadu and all is like that. Hot, hotter, hottest. Though they like to pretend there is a winter. Margazhi. It's all pretending there is a winter. There is no winter. Anyway, so it's again. And as youngsters, we used to roam all over the village. We used to say, "Arey yaar, Atta, he's 1 week fasting." So every evening, one of his followers will come, leave a huge torchlight with him. Because raat ko, you know, dog will come, this is even snakes and all. So a torch you have to have. So every evening you'll get a torch. And those huge torches, you know. 4 cell torches. Nowadays you don't even see them. 4 cells could go into it from the back. So one day a group of us said, "Kuch kala hai idhar." You know how kids can be, you know. So this thing, all the followers, most of them had gone this time. We also went and said, no. And slowly one of us picked up the torch, opened it. Huge Kerala banana came out of it. That one Kerala banana you eat, whole calories for the whole day you have got. Big one. What do you call in Malayalam? Nendrakaya. Huge one. Pino Devadatta, Divana Bhungte, Ratra Eva Bhungte, eating on the night. Yeah. That is called presumption knowledge. You know, without, there has to be a fact that, see, it is like, it is not an assumption. There is a big difference between presumption and assumption. Assumption, you can assume anything. Yeah. He looked at me, he doesn't like me. He looked at me, he likes me. These are all assumptions. There is no basis for this. For presumption, there is a basis. What is the base? The base is your knowledge that this character is not eating during the day, and the human body cannot remain healthy and the same weight unless calories go in, because we are not photosynthesizing creatures. We don't manufacture our own food like how a plant does it. We don't do that. Okay. Yeah, we don't do. We have to get food from outside. We are not photosynthesizers. All this knowledge, this is upapadya jnanam. Assumption doesn't have upapadya jnanam. What knowledge you have?
Can we say that assumption is purely subjective and
Yeah,
logical?
assumption is subjective.
Same with everybody because
Yeah. No, it will not be the same.
like presumption has to be like it's
More or less, yeah. If it has knowledge, it has to be. Now, presumption can be faulty also. Like any means of knowledge, you can have error in it. But the error will also have to be corrected by the same logic. Perception can have error. You correct it with your seeing it again clearly, better light, etc. Inference can have an error. You saw so many upadhis that are there. Similarly, presumption can also have. If some of the upapadya jnana, which is the karanam, if that is wrong, like you assumed that minister was eating in the night, but that's wrong. Why? He was having khada prasad in the day only. Can you see that? So the divana bhungte, during the day he doesn't eat, was not correct. That upapatti jnanam, that available knowledge was not correct, because he is eating in the day. He is saying, I did eat food, because you can't say prasad is food. Prasad can be anything. Tulsi can be prasad, a flower can be prasad, anything can be prasad. It's not that all prasad is eatable. You get to a Shiva temple, they'll give you some vibhuti or some kumkum devi temple. Prasad, put it on. Or kya? Yeah. It's not that you get laddu in every time. Yeah?
So when you say guesstimation, will it be the same as
No,
presumption?
guesstimation is not the same.
Okay.
Yeah. See, estimation is different. It's an educated guesswork. Guesswork is called estimation. No? That's why you say guesstimation. Yeah, that's part of, you can include it as part of inference actually. But it is not a pramana because it's never accurate. If you get an estimation within 10%, you are considered fine. Within 5%, like how I get sometimes, oh, you're wonderful. Why? Because from childhood onwards, I've been doing this estimation business. It's part of the thing in scout training. Estimate the height, estimate this. And there are methods of doing it. For estimation also, there are methods. But they are not pramanas because it's an approximation. Any estimation is an approximation, therefore not taken as pramana. But it can be taken as a working basis. Okay, you estimate this building is roughly 40 feet because there are 4 floors and each floor is about 10 feet. Okay, the ground floor also is all parking, but it is about the same height, not more. They are not given more. Therefore, 40 feet and some terrace, etc. So another 5 feet you will add. This is it. The structure is that much only. It's an estimation. You actually measure it, may be changing. A guesstimate is one step less. At this rally, how many people were there? Oh, 50,000. How do you know? Did you say how many people are sitting lengthwise, how many people are sitting breadthwise, and you calculated it? That will become a good estimate. That's a method of estimation. Still it not be accurate. Why? Because the rally people keep moving forward and backward. Na? Aage piche people will keep moving. People keep adding and leaving. But you will get a good estimate if you do it that way. It's still an estimate. It's not pramana. Guesstimation is without that. Approximately with your idea of how much space is filled up, so much of square feet, therefore about this much must be there. That's called guesstimate. So there is an estimation which is based on little bit calculation. There is a guesstimation which is a guesswork, but little bit better than guesswork because you have some idea. Or there is pure guesswork. I guess that is so. None of them is Arthapathi. None of them is Arthapathi or Anumanam. You don't say, I guess there is fire. No? You know there is fire there. Because you are seeing the smoke billowing out of that building. Yeah. I guess so. There must be. You don't say fire. You ring the fire alarm. Why? Because ring up the fire brigade. This knowledge. Then you went, you investigated. What are the reasons of this? You ruled out all that. This fire cannot be ruled out without this fact being there. There is no short circuit, you know. Okay? There is no short circuit, etc. Then, no gas explosion before the fire started. Then what could be it? Do a presumption now, come on. There is no gas leak, there is no short circuit. Huh?
Somebody did it.
Somebody must have deliberately done it. A lit candle, yeah. A candle was lit or a lamp was lit and left. The curtains caught fire. From there it spread it to the cupboard, this, that, etc. and set fire. Because without presuming that, there is no way of explaining a fire. There was a naked flame. Even candle or lamp you can't say. There was a naked flame that set fire to some flammables. Presumption. Because without that, how do you explain? Because you ruled out all other causes. We do this all the time in life. Yeah, in our life also we do it now. Yeah.
Also, Swamiji, if there is error in knowledge,
Hmm.
and I have got it by using one pramana, say for example it is inference, then it can be corrected only by that particular pramana, or it can
As long as the conditions remain the same, an inferential knowledge will be connected only by inferential knowledge.
can't be corrected.
Condition remain the same. Like, for example, I thought there was fire, inference. Okay? Why? The data said smoke and I inferred. But then, what I said was smoke, or fire was wrong. There is no fire. Why? Inferential. Conditions are remaining the same. You are standing there, you are not gone anywhere near. If you have gone near, conditions have changed, therefore you can use perception. You are not gone near, conditions are the same. Then what? What you thought was fire was only mist, low-lying mist. It happens in the Ganga, na? On the river. Yeah, low-lying mist. I thought I mistook it for fire. That is the upadhi. That was the upadhi.
But otherwise, if conditions change, then
Conditions change, the pramana will also change. Conditions change. Because it was paroksham.
One case,
Yeah.
imported rapeseed had come.
Huh?
Imported rapeseed,
Hmm.
English infamous,
Hmm.
had come.
Hmm.
And it was put in a godown.
It was?
It was stored.
Huh. Huh.
Suddenly they saw smoke rising, this, that, everything, and he was burned. But they came to a conclusion that there was no fire. So the claimant said that how can there be smoke without a fire?
Hmm.
It became a very technical,
Exactly.
very technical question, lack of reason.
Yeah.
Then it was said that it is auto-ignition which took place.
Exactly.
Spontaneous combustion.
Yeah. That's it. There has to be a reason. Yeah. That's the presumption. That auto-ignition took place was a presumption. Why? There was fire, there was smoke. From smoke, look at it now. This is classical sense of double knowledge being used. The smoke you saw by perception. The fire you inferred. How the fire took place was by presumption, because without presumption in that particular equipment, automatically auto-ignition took place. Without that, you cannot explain the presence of that fire in that piece of equipment. So it is used all the time in your life. It is not something special that Vedantins are postulating. It is not inference. Inference you came up to fire. Perception, it was not perception. Perception, you saw the smoke. By inference you came up to the fire. The cause for fire was presumption. In this particular case, auto-ignition can take place given the right condition of heat, etc. Many forest fires are started like that. Can you see? Any doubts on this presumption, how presumption works?
But in forest fire, you can see the fire.
Yeah.
In this case, you could not
You need to see the fire, exactly.
But it was
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
electrical auto-
Exactly. No, the forest fire I said only for auto ignition.
Yeah.
Spontaneous leaves can catch fire, dry leaves can catch fire in the heat of the sun, etc. Yeah.
Copra.
Yeah.
Dry copra can be put in a sun can start.
Exactly, it can start. Yeah. Though usually most of the time is somebody leaving a cigarette down. A BD. But auto ignition is also known. That's what I'm saying. A lot of fires start. Yeah.
When we say that even if eating at night is also not a possibility, then we doubt the error in the way. That is also
Yeah. Yeah.
that is also being
Yeah. That's all included into the upadhis.
questioning the data also.
Yeah. You can question. In fact, you have to question data. To be sure of the data, you have to question it. Yeah. Yeah. That's why in science, the whole process of questioning data, etc., even in logic, it is there. You have to be sure that the data is right. If data is wrong, everything goes haywire. If data is wrong, everything goes haywire. Yeah. Okay. Ratri Bhunjana Upapadakam. Okay.
Most of the science is presumption. Most science.
Lot of science is presumption. Science is basically perception, anumanam, inference, presumption, little bit anupalabdhi here and there it comes in. Little bit. Basically it is this. Comparison. Comparative studies also. Yeah. But predominantly these three are at work. Perception, inference and presumption. That's the major part for science.
Perception, inference, and
Presumption. Arthapathi, see, there is no exact translation for Arthapathi. Arthapathi. We don't want to use the term assumption because assumption is wild, can be subjective. Therefore, we use the word presumption. It is actually a modified sense. The famous term, when this guy was, forget the name of that guy, who was searching for Dr. Livingstone, that Englishman. Finally, he finds Livingstone in an African village. He says, I felt like jumping around and laughing and joyful about things. But I am an Englishman. So he walked up to Dr. Livingstone and straight on said, extended his hand and said, Dr. Livingstone, I presume. I think those days it was valid. I don't think Englishmen are like that now. At least not so bad. Yeah. Though I have seen some English clergy behaving like that. Okay. Yeah, Havey Stanley, that is probably the guy. Stanley was a guy. Yes, Havey must have been his first name. Yeah. Okay. Then he says, Ratri Bhojana Kalpana Rupaya Amitau Arthasya Apattihi. That Ratri Bhojana Kalpanam which is what we call as Arthapathi. Kalpana iti, okay, now he's just going into Sanskrit grammar, which I don't think most of you have done. Kalpana iti shashti samasena Arthapatti shabda vartate. Arthasya apatti, Arthapattihi. So he's saying shashti samasa. Okay? Huh? Bahuri. Yes, Bahuri. Yeah. Kalpana akarena pinatvadi jnane tu arthasya apatti kalpana yasmat. Arthasya atmati kalpana yasmat. Because that pinatvam, without this arthasya, not possible. Iti bahurihi samasena vartate. Just a grammatical point. Those who have studied grammar, what is bahurihi?
It's the combination of two samasas.
But all samasas are combination of two words.
No, the very major example, the usual example is Pitambaram.
Is?
Pitambaram.
Pitambaram yasya. The one who has got Pitambara.
That means it does not refer to the two words which are there.
Yeah, refers to the third party. Yes, Bahuri always refers to the third entity. Pitambaram meaning Krishna. Pitambaram literally means what? Yeah. Pitambaram is yellow cloth, yellow dress. But Krishna was always in yellow.
Lord Krishna.
Yeah, so it refers to Lord Krishna. So that is how the whole thing, with the third entity. So similarly, Arthapatti, Arthasya apatti. Yeah. And what is Arthapatti? That Ratri Bhojanam. Ratri Bhojanam is the apatti. Iti bahugri samasena vartate. Iti phala karnayoho ubayoho tatpada prayogaha. Therefore, Arthapatti will refer to it. He says both the end result and the process. The end result and the process.
In the case of Pitambara,
Hmm.
it's a known thing.
No, that is known. It is only given for the samasa, bahuri. Yeah. To explain the samasa.
There is no deductive logic.
No, there is no derivative logic there. It's purely a grammatical point. It's a purely a grammatical point. Yeah. Because, see, people love categorization. Samasa hai na samasa hai. Two words joining together, either it can be a sandhi or a samasa. Okay? Sandhi is generally two words which doesn't change the meaning. Samasa, the meaning changes. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Like Ramakrishna. Now Ramakrishna can refer to one person or Ramascha Krishnascha. Yeah. Ramakrishna then. Yeah. No, it can be anything else. Drishta Samudram. What is now Drishta Samudram? Huh? Yaha Samudra Drishtaha. The one who has seen the Samudra, this ocean, one who has known the ocean well, Drishta Samudra. So these are all. Then you bring the person along with Drishta Samudram, you don't bring the entity along. Pitambaram, you bring the person along. You bring his clothes along with the person. So like that, differences are there in samasa. Okay? For that, little bit Sanskrit studying is important. Okay? Yeah. There it comes in. Clear up to now? Okay. Simple. This is nothing complicated. Only a little bit that language this you have to see. Look to it. Then he says, now here comes the interesting part. There are two types of presumption. Sa cha arthapattihi divida, twofold. One way of dividing it. See, to divide something, there are different ways of categorization and division. He is following one system. What is that? Drishtapatihi shrutarthapattischeti. Drishtam shrutam cha. He is saying it because he wants to bring Vedanta into it. That's why he is making this type of categorization. What is seen and therefore you make an arthapatti. Like Pino Devadatta. Or Shrutam. What is that? Let us look into it. Tatra drishtapattihi yata idam rajatam iti purvavartinihi प्रतिपन्नस्य रजतस्य नेदं रजतम इति तत्रैव निषिद्धयमानत्वं सति सतित्वे अनुपपन्नम इति रजतस्य सद्भानत्वं सत्यावत्या अंतभावस्य वा मिथ्यात्वं कल्पयति. Now he is bringing in using Arthapathi to prove mithyatvam, for which he is saying idam rajatam. You saw that this was silver, okay? Iti pura avartinah pratipanna rajatasya. This is silver. Then you look closer. No, na idam rajatam. It is not silver. It is only a seashell. Okay. This much is your anubhava up to now, meaning your knowledge up to now. Iti rajatasya. Okay. Tatreva nishiddhyamanatvam. Okay. Sattvatve anupapannam. Therefore, can you take that rajatam as real? The rajatam that you saw there, can you take it as real? Because not there. Therefore, what? Iti rajatasya sad bhinnatvam. Therefore, it has to be other than sat. It cannot be sat, real. Okay? Satyutya atyanta abhavatvam. There is this atyanta abhavatvam with respect to sat. It is not there. But you saw it. Therefore, what? Mithyatvam kalpayati. Unless you presume that the rajatam that you saw was mithya projection, kalpana, therefore mithya, you cannot explain away your experience, can you? So only in this type of cases it will work. In Pino Devadatta it won't work. It won't work in, that is also Drishtanubha. This is a special case of what you have seen. See, Pino Devadatta is general case of what you have seen. Here now, he is extending Arthapathi to erroneous perception. And he is saying that without mithyatva kalpana, there is no way you can explain what you saw. Can you see that? How are you going to explain that you saw the silver when the silver is not there? How did the silver disappear? You won't say who took it away. Nobody took it away, only you are there. Therefore, unless you take the silver as pratibhasika, therefore mithya, you cannot explain away that silver, can you? We are talking about explaining what you saw. Silver. Arthat apatti, unless you presume the fact that it is mithya, you cannot explain why you saw it.
The error,
Huh?
you won't consider it as error.
Error is mithya. Yeah. Paratra para avabhasana, taking something as something else. What is there is shell, you took it as something else. That is error. But error can be explained only with mithya. Why is he bringing it here? He is bringing it here because what does the Nayayika say? Memory, alaukika pratyaksham. He is dismissing alaukika pratyaksham by bringing in Arthapathi. Yeah. Yeah. Can you see that? Because unless you presume it is mithya, there is no way you can explain it. Because it is not that you saw the shell and you remembered at home you have a piece of silver. Then you wouldn't make the mistake. Why? Because the silver is located in your home. Whereas you mistook it as being located here. Location is important. Where did you make the mistake? It is not that you saw the rope and said, this reminds me of a snake. You saw the snake there. You didn't see the snake here. Even though it is a snake thought that you saw, you are not imagining it. You are saying, And very nice. It reminds me of the snake I saw in the zoo. That's not what you did. You jumped and said snake. And then when you put the torch on, only rope. How did I see the snake? Tell me, how can you explain that you saw a snake without saying it's a mithya snake? There is no other explanation possible. There is no bush around for the snake to disappear. Then you could have said a bush or hole is there, then you could have said, oh, went there. Arthapathi, unless you presume it is a mithya snake, it's a mithya silver, there is no way you seeing the mithya can be explained. So in these type of cases, special cases, okay, mithyatva nishchayam happened because of Arthapathi.
Swamiji,
Yeah.
here mithya is understood as erroneous perception.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah, that's okay. Anywhere mithya is erroneous perception only, na?
so? That's what he means by
Yeah. Yes. That's why he said sad bhinnam, sada bhinnam. Not sad but sad abhinnam also. Yeah.
So, Swamiji, why he is discussing only erroneous perception? Because whether it is Pratibhasi Pramana, it is ultimately mithya only, no? Whether it is.
We are not saying ultimately now. What is pramana? Within vyavahara. The 5 pramanas are applicable only within vyavahara. Then within vyavahara he says drishtanu. Now he is saying shrutam also. Now he is extending it. Okay, after this. Okay. Shruta arthapatti yataha yat shrunamake vakena sarvatra anupatti mukhena swartha anupatti mukhena arthantara kalpanam. You heard something. On the basis of that, you made a kalpana. Okay? In Galwan, Indian soldiers fought with the Chinese. You heard. Was Arthapathi there? After that, what Arthapathi can you make? Why did the Indian soldiers fight with the Chinese here? Arthapathi is they tried to enter Indian territory because our standard policy is we will not cross the border. Arthapathi, remember? Now, that is not what he is focusing on. I am just giving you an example. Okay? Okay, what did you hear? From the Shastra you heard, Tarati Shokam Atmavit. Atmavit Shokam Tarati. Iti Shruti Vakya Chandogya Upanishad. Ityat Shruti Shoka Shabda Vachya Bhada Jatasya. Your grief can be negated. Your grief is negated, na? Tarati Shokam. The Atmavit Shokam Tarati. ये क्या बात है? Just by knowing you are negating it, हाँ? By knowing the Atma, your shoka is going. ये क्या बात है? I know something, something else goes away. What? I know something, something else goes away. Jnana nivrittasya anyatha anupapattaya bandhasya mithyatvam kalpayate. Therefore, you have to, just on the basis of statement, if you are smart enough to do Arthapatti, you will know that your shoka or bandha is mithya. Your shoka is because of the bandha. If the bandha is mithya, only then it can be negated by knowledge. If bandha was real, I tie you up, put you in chains. I know it is chains. Doesn't work.
So, this is like a fourth definition of
Yeah. Yeah. Similar. Therefore means what? You heard Tarati Shokam Atma. Now look at how Shastra Anukula Tarka this is. This is Shastra Anukula Tarka. You are using a logical pramana, presumption, to support the Shastra. What are you doing? By Arthapatti you are therefore saying Bandha is Mithya. Is it necessary for the Shastra to say Bandha is Mithya? Not necessarily. It is just has to say jnanena mukti, atmavid shokam tarati. You're a smart guy. You will understand. It's possible only Bandha is Muktya. Because all my bondage is negated by knowledge of the self. By knowledge, what can be negated? By knowledge, only error can be negated, nothing else. Only what is adhyasa can be negated by knowledge, nothing else. That you already know. Upapadaka, that is. Yeah. That you are in sorrow, you know. That negation by knowledge is only for adhyasta vastu. That also you know. Yatha rope snake, rajatam, sarpa, etc. You know that. Therefore, you made the connection here as well, even without the Shastra saying it. You don't make it, the Guru makes it generally. That's okay. Somebody made it. Na? Yeah. Arthapathi is enough for Mithyatva Nischaya, not for Atma Nischaya. Unless I am Satyam Jnanam Anantam, this God, you don't make all those things. No. That Satyam Jnanam Anantam word also you got only from the Shastra. Yeah. I have not studied the Shastra, but I know I am Ananda. How did you know Ananda, the word? Because your friend was called Ananda. Then you say he is Ananda, not I am Ananda. It's a tragedy that you are translating it as bliss. Because Shastra is not with you, therefore you don't know how to use words. But the Mithyatva Nischaya can be done by Arthapathi. That's what he's saying. Anumanam, Arthapathi, etc. The supporting logic is available. Yeah. Look at how he is using the Arthapathi here. That means when you study Vedanta, you are supposed to do that. Use inference, use presumption, not assumption. Please don't assume. If you assume, it all can go wrong, because assumption is subjective. Assumption is subjective, remember that. So you can't assume. You know what you do when you assume generally? Generally. Split of the word assume. ASSUME, right? You make an ass of you and me. Assumption is different from presumption. Okay.
Actually, here in the translation, somewhere assumption is used, somewhere
Yeah.
looking at that.
Yeah.
Confused.
Yeah. Not confused. See, he's using it. He says, this particular assumption is called presumption. That's what he's trying to show there. Yeah. 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 True. That's true. Okay. Yatava Jivi Devatata Grihena. You go to Devadatta's house. Knock, knock. One of the helpers opened the door. Devadatta, not there at home. घर में नहीं है. Therefore he says what? Iti vakya shravana anantaram. After you heard he is not at home, jivanaha graha asatvam bahisatvam kalpayati. You make a presumption, he must have gone out somewhere. घर में तो नहीं है तो और किधर रहेगा? He is alive, no? He is alive. That's why jivatam he said, no? Jivi, he is alive, living. Yeah. Don't say, he is here only in my heart. We are not talking about those things. He is here only, upper, heaven mein. No, no, no. We are not talking about those things. Jivi Devadatta.
Isn't this Anumana?
Huh?
Anumana?
No, why Anumana?
Because if he's not inside, he must be.
What is the data? Not inside is abhava. Data has to be bhavam. Can you see that?
But now he has used the word assume that he is outside. So then it is
It's a presumption actually. Yeah.
So then I can presume that he does
That's an extension a bit. Because he's explaining presumption. Because the English language is like that. You know? You use the word assume and presume interchangeably. Yeah. That's why I said it should be actually Arthapathi. But like verbal testimony. As a Shabda Pramanam. What is verbal testimony? Because English language doesn't have Shabda Pramanam. Whatever verbal testimony is there in the English language is based on faith. Because the English language is explaining is based on Latin, which is the Bible is based on that, therefore it is all faith based. Verbal testimony in England is faith based. You believe what is written there. You are not going to know about heaven unless you go there. And like the Archbishop of Canterbury, you may be very disappointed. Why? Heaven is not like how it is described. Not going to be. You think it's going to be how the Indian scriptures are described? Not necessarily. Because it's described for your understanding. Yeah, so it will be different. Okay, therefore, why? Because all paroksha. They are paroksha jnanam. Yeah. Therefore, Jiva Devadatta, without presuming he is gone somewhere out, how can you say he is not there in the house? That statement, he is not there in the house, will be valid only with the presumption he is somewhere outside. It's a simple one. I mean, you don't even think about it, do you? You don't even think about it in normal life. Taken for granted, bahar rahega kidhar. Yeah.
Oh, it is not there, it will be said that Swarg Lok Padari.
Huh?
The hospital will say Swarg Lok.
हाँ और कुछ बोलेगा ना बोलेगा करेक्ट भगवान के प्यारे हो गए यू हैव टू से समथिंग या some euphemism you will have to use. Yeah. Here it is not like that. Here it is very clear cut, that presumption. Though it is simple, it is a very simple thing. Therefore you are presuming that. Okay? हाँ किधर बाहर घूम के आ जाएगा अभी. Yeah. Yeah. Supposing he tells you, okay, 3 दिन के लिए घर में नहीं है. Then what do you presume? He has gone on a long distance trip or gone to stay with some family member or something. Those presumptions are valid then. This or that. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay. Griha sattvam, bahi sattvam kalpayati. The thing is, here he makes it very simple. He says, it is definite he is outside. Why jivitam syat? Because presumption is a pramana, there has to be a certain amount of definiteness about it. If you say this or that, then you are giving possibilities. It's not really presumption. Bahar gaya rahega ya idhar gaya rahega. No, then you have to look for further information. Yeah. Then you know, arey, it is his brother's 60th birthday. Arthapathi, then udhar hi rahega. Can you see that? You need more information then to make that Arthapathi. Yeah. Hey, but he never used to get along well with his brother at all. They were like fighting like cats and dogs all the time. Arthapathi bahar go gaye to avoid this. Is there a nebulous nature to Arthapathi? In some cases, yes. Why? Because these are all paroksha jnanam. No? These are all paroksha jnanam. So in paroksha jnanam, there is, even though there is, you say it, the abhaditam, etc., it is not like perception. That's why you say hasta amalakam iva. For an example, it's so clear. How? Hasta amalakam iva. Like in the hand you have kept an amala, how it's not can't miss it? You didn't say Anumita Agni, ever do you say that as an example? It is so clear as the fire that you inferred. You don't say that. Why? Perception is strong as Jeshtam. Perception is the Jeshta Pramana. Therefore, you give it that. Therefore, when you are comparing it with perception, you may find that's okay. That's the nature of Pramanas. Even though we say Abhaditam, etc., we say that. What does Abhaditam mean there? Pramanantarena Abhaditam. Isn't it Abhaditam? Yeah. Okay. But in Vyavahara, there is a limit to it. Because that is the nature of Vyavahara. Why? The whole world is Mithya anyway, so it keeps changing. So all the Pancha Pramanas are also Mithya, no? Even the Shashta Pramana is Mithya because we are using it in a Mithya world. Only Brahman is Satyam. So other than that, anything will have a nebulous quality. And that's, you learn to live with that. Think it over. Then there are, again he says, there are twofold presumption from what is heard. Okay. He's further dividing it. Okay. Yeah, that we will see next class. Okay. Om Tat Sat.